Prior to this season, the Chicago Bulls were struggling quite a lot in the post-Jimmy Butler era. After moving on from Butler, the Bulls found themselves drafting in the lottery year after year, and while their recent selections haven't been bad, players like Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter, and Kobe White weren't exactly moving the needle. On top of that, the Bulls have had their fair share of injury problems over the past few seasons, and they didn't have great leadership on the sidelines or in the front office either. Whatever or whoever the main culprit was, the point is not much progress was being made in Chicago's rebuild, as the Bulls' record was relatively stagnant following the Butler trade. However, after having a front office overhaul in 2020, things have changed for the better in Chicago. In the 2020 draft, the Bulls surprised everyone by picking Patrick Williams 4th overall, but he's looked like a promising young player so far in his career. The Bulls then replaced Jim Boylen with Billy Donovan ahead of the 2020-21 season, and he's proven to be a much more competent coach than Boylen ever was. Chicago has also made some significant roster changes over the past 8 months, letting go of former lottery picks Wendell Carter and Lauri Markkanen, and bringing in win-now players in Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, and Lonzo Ball. After making all of these changes, the Bulls have gotten off to a hot start this year, and I don't anticipate them slowing down. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the early season success of the Chicago Bulls and how their changes have turned them into one of the best teams out east.
Murray inside, incredible! LeBron James with no regard for human life.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
What's been most apparent when watching Chicago this year is that everyone seems to understand their roles. While there could be a number of explanations for this, I believe that Lonzo Ball is the main reason for this being the case. Lonzo is not simply an unselfish, pass-first point guard. He is an extremely intelligent basketball mind that knows how to get the most out of his teammates. Zo's awareness of what is going on in the game is elite, and this helps him keep teammates involved and engaged. Rather than bringing the ball up the floor every time because he is the point guard, Lonzo will frequently pass the ball to either LaVine or DeRozan and simply let them go to work. While this may seem inconsequential, Lonzo is doing this because he knows that LaVine and DeRozan both have a scorer's mentality, and by getting them lots of touches and shots, Zo knows that they will return the favor when he's open, and they'll play harder on the defensive end as well. Lonzo also considers the confidence of his teammates when making plays. For example, early on in their last matchup with the Pistons, Isaiah Stewart scored the first 2 points of the game on Nikola Vucevic. The next play down, Lonzo throws a post-entry pass to Vucevic and lets him try to answer back on Stewart. Even though he missed, and Stewart came back down a few plays later and scored once again, Lonzo kept getting the ball to him, and eventually Vucevic got one back on Stewart. Showing that type of confidence in your teammates is big, and while it may not seem that important, I think those early passes to Vucevic got his confidence up, and they played a part in him ultimately having a great game that night. Overall, Lonzo does a great job of playing his role, and it's allowed the team to function as well as they have so far. He defers to the better players on this team, knocks down his threes, makes smart passes in transition and in the half court, and plays very good defense. Lonzo was a great pickup for the Bulls, and he seems to have found a nice long-term home in Chicago. Another player that has really bought into their role is Patrick Williams. On the offensive end, Williams has been content with getting most of his shots in the flow of the offense. He doesn't seem to care too much about his touches or shot attempts, which allows LaVine, DeRozan, and Vucevic to get plenty of looks. Williams has shown a pretty nice ability to move without the ball, spot up at the three-point line, and attack closeouts for mid-range pull-ups. While I do like that Williams has been so unselfish, I would like to see him show a bit more confidence. There have been a number of plays this year where he's either been hesitant or slightly unsure of what to do with the ball. However, Williams is in just his second NBA season, and I expect him to learn and improve with each game. While Ball and Williams are valuable pieces to this Bulls team, the play of their big three is the main reason why this team is 4-0. We all know that LaVine, DeRozan, and Vucevic can score, but what's made Chicago's offense so hard to defend is that all three of them can pass as well. None of these guys are making overly flashy passes, but they regularly seem to make the right pass, which opens up Chicago's offense. LaVine, DeRozan, and Vucevic are all multi-dimensional scorers, but you can't really double-team them because A, they have good enough vision to find the open man, and B, there are a number of good cutters on this team as well. However, where this team's passing has been at its best is in transition. The Bulls are always looking to run, and they move the ball ahead so quickly because whoever has the ball always has their eyes up. Chicago is currently tied for 7th in the league in fast break points, and I expect that ranking to become even better as their chemistry gets better and they start forcing even more turnovers. Through the first 4 games of the season, the Bulls have had the 5th best defensive rating in the league, and they are forcing 19.5 turnovers per game while only committing 14 per game themselves. Chicago has been able to do this by playing smart defense. If there is a non-shooter on the floor, the person guarding them will often leave their man and aggressively double the man with the ball. In addition to that, the Bulls are great at getting into passing lanes. What makes Chicago's aggressive style of defense so successful is that they play with controlled aggression rather than reckless aggression. While you could argue that it's a risky strategy to send lots of double teams or go for steals in passing lanes, the Bulls do so only when they know there's a high chance of success. They've rarely given up any easy baskets as a result of their gambles, and this is a testament to the IQ of their players. Chicago has also been able to force turnovers by playing great pick and roll defense. I've really liked the way that Alize Johnson and Vucevic have defended in the pick and roll, and especially in the case of Vucevic, he's done an amazing job of deflecting and stealing passes. Chicago's perimeter defenders have done a great job of fighting through screens and staying with the ball handler, and as you can see in many of these clips, the ball handler doesn't really have anywhere to go once he comes off the screen. This is where Vucevic's IQ comes into play because he knows the ball handler is more likely to make a pass rather than forcing up a tough shot, so he stays active and gets his hands in the passing lanes. Vucevic is currently averaging 2.3 steals per game, which has been really nice to see because generally Vucevic gets labeled as a poor defender. Not only are the starters turning their defense into offense, the guys off the bench are doing the same thing. Going into the season, there were some doubts about the contract Chicago gave Alex Caruso, but if he keeps playing the way he has, he'll more than live up to it. Caruso has been phenomenal on the defensive end as he's fit perfectly into Chicago's scheme of aggressively helping and going for steals. At the making of this video, Caruso is averaging 3.3 steals in just 27.5 minutes per game. What's best is that like Lonzo, LaVine, and DeMar, Caruso can effectively push the ball ahead in transition after forcing a turnover. He can make plays for himself or for his teammates, and it helps that the other players on this second unit are so willing to run with him. Javonte Green has really impressed me with his ability to fill the lanes and make plays in transition. Green is a great athlete, which makes him such a deadly finisher on the fast break, and even if you are able to slow him down, he's good at staying calm and finding the open man. Troy Brown and Alize Johnson have brought good energy as well, making this Bulls second unit one of the better ones in the league so far. With Coby White being out right now, there is no one coming off the Bulls bench that can consistently create their own shot, but that's been a non-issue so far because Billy Donovan has done a great job with his lineups. Donovan will often play DeRozan with the second unit, or he'll run Caruso with the starters minus Patrick Williams. When Jim Boylen was the coach of the Bulls, there were times where he'd basically do line changes, subbing out his entire starting 5 for his bench unit. Donovan's way of managing the rotations is so much better because it makes all of his players more effective. Donovan is not going to ask Alex Caruso to be a true point guard and initiate the offense. He's not expecting Troy Brown or Javonte Green to be shot creators. Instead, he's putting each of his players in situations and lineups where they can focus on what they do well, not having to worry about trying to do too much. It should be interesting to see how Coby White plays with this second unit once he's back from injury, but honestly, I'm not a big fan of his fit with this team. Coby could definitely prove me wrong, but so far in his career, Coby has been a shoot-first guard that has struggled to consistently defend and make plays for others. Unfortunately for White, the Bulls have more than enough scorers on this team, and considering Billy Donovan has done a great job of staggering the minutes between his best offensive players, it's not as if Coby is going to be asked to play with 4 other bench players and carry the scoring load. That being said, his scoring ability is not particularly needed on this team, and because he doesn't excel in much more than that, the fit may not be great. Luckily for the Bulls, they appear to have a great insurance policy in rookie Ayo Dosunmu. While his stats aren't anything special, Ayo fits the identity of this Bulls team perfectly. He plays very hard on the defensive end, and he's shown off some nice passing skills as well. Coby White may be more talented than Ayo, but Coby doesn't project to fit as well with this team as Ayo does. The Chicago Bulls are not only an exciting team to watch, they're also a team that is producing results. They have a number of really good passers, they play hard, active defense, and they are an amazing transition team as well. Considering DeRozan and Vucevic haven't even played up to standard yet, it's scary to think that this team will get even better once those two find a rhythm. It's still very early on in the season, so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I think it's safe to say that any doubts about this Bulls team being playoff caliber have been squashed. Time will only tell if they are a legit contender in the East, but for now I can say with confidence that playoff basketball will be back in Chicago this season, and their fans have an extremely exciting team to root for this year. That's going to be all for today's video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And with all that being said, I'm out, and I'll see you in the next video.